A major shift is underway in North American agriculture. Mexico is redirecting a significant portion of its tomato exports from the United States to Canada. For decades, American grocery stores depended on Mexican tomatoes, especially in winter. Now that relationship is being tested. Canada is emerging as a more stable and attractive market, offering predictability that the US no longer guarantees. This isn't a minor change, it's a $2.8 billion realignment of the continent's food supply chain. Mexican growers, long focused on the US, are now sending more of their best produce north to Canadian distribution centers. Years of economic pressure and trade disputes have pushed this shift, surprising policymakers and consumers alike. The familiar sight of tomato-laden trucks crossing into the US may soon be less common. Canada is actively positioning itself as a more welcoming partner for Mexican producers. The implications are vast, affecting everything from international relations to the price of your next salad. This is about more than economics. It's about livelihoods, from Mexican farmers to Canadian logistics experts to American grocers scrambling for new suppliers. The tomato's journey across North America is being rerouted, redrawing the map of how fresh food moves across the continent. The humble tomato is now at the center of a new era in North American trade. The driving force behind this shift is a tangled web of tariffs and trade rules. The US has long imposed duties on Mexican tomatoes, claiming unfair pricing that hurts American growers, leading to the contentious tomato suspension agreement. Recent negotiations have been tense, with the threat of even higher tariffs making the US market unpredictable for Mexican producers. In contrast, Canada offers a stable, tariff-free environment under the USMCA, making it a far more attractive destination. Mexican businesses can plan for the future and build long-term relationships with Canadian buyers, free from the constant threat of trade wars. Canadian companies are investing in logistics and infrastructure to handle the increased flow of Mexican produce. The Canadian business culture is seen as more collaborative, fostering a seamless supply chain from Mexican fields to Canadian supermarkets. For Mexican growers, the choice is clear. Leave behind a protectionist, unpredictable US market for a stable, profitable Canadian partnership. The US is now viewed as a high-risk partner, while Canada rolls out the welcome mat. For many Mexican farmers, the decision to shift north is becoming easier every day. Why navigate a maze of American trade regulations when a straightforward, lucrative path lies to the north? The result? A fundamental realignment of North American tomato trade. The future of the tomato business is being rewritten, one truckload at a time. The impact of this trade shift is already being felt in the United States. American grocery stores, especially in winter, rely on Mexican tomatoes. With more of that supply heading to Canada, US retailers face shortages. Shoppers may soon see fewer tomato varieties or even empty shelves. Less supply means higher prices. The days of cheap, abundant tomatoes in the US may be ending. For many families, this price hike makes healthy eating less affordable. American tomato farmers might benefit from less competition, but they can't fill the gap left by Mexican imports, especially in winter. If prices rise too high, consumers may simply buy fewer tomatoes, hurting all producers. The disruption ripples through the supply chain. Trucking, distribution, and repackaging jobs are all at risk. This is a stark reminder of how interconnected our economies are. The tomato is just one product, but it exposes vulnerabilities in the global food system. Years of contentious trade policy are now hitting home for American consumers. The humble tomato has become a symbol of the real-world consequences of trade disputes. The US food supply chain is being tested like never before. The future of the American produce aisle is suddenly uncertain. The US-Mexico tomato trade has a long, contentious history, dating back to the 1990s and NAFTA. NAFTA opened the door for Mexican tomatoes to flood the US market, benefiting consumers but sparking fierce competition with American farmers. Florida growers accused Mexico of dumping tomatoes at below-cost prices, leading to the 1996 Tomato Suspension Agreement. This deal set minimum prices for Mexican tomatoes, aiming to protect US farmers while keeping trade flowing. The agreement has been renegotiated multiple times, each round bringing new tensions and uncertainty. US growers push for stricter rules. Mexican producers see it as protectionism. The cycle of disputes has eroded trust and created a climate of instability. The 2019 US withdrawal from the agreement and sudden tariffs were a wake-up call for Mexican producers, highlighting their vulnerability. This troubled history has paved the way for today's shift toward Canada, a partner seen as far more stable. In Sinaloa, Mexico, farmers like Javier are frustrated but hopeful. Javier, we faced years of uncertainty with the US, one year prices are fair, the next we're accused of dumping. Canada offers us stability and respect. In Canada, business leaders see opportunity. Sarah Jenkins, a logistics manager in Calgary, says, "Sarah, we're scaling up to handle more Mexican produce. It's a win-win. Fresh tomatoes for Canadians, stable markets for Mexican growers, and new jobs here." The partnership is built on mutual respect and clear business terms. Meanwhile, American grocers like David Chen in Arizona are worried. "David, my customers expect affordable, high-quality tomatoes year-round. Now I'm facing shortages and price hikes. It's tough for small businesses and families." These stories reveal the real-world impact of the trade shift. For Mexican farmers, it's about stability. For Canadians, it's about opportunity. For Americans, it's about coping with disruption. The tomato trade is more than economics, it's reshaping lives and businesses across 3 nations. Each voice adds depth to this evolving story. The human element behind billions in trade is impossible to ignore. The tomato's journey is now a story of adaptation and resilience. North America's food future is being rewritten by the choices of people like Javier, Sarah, and David. Canada isn't just receiving more tomatoes, it's actively building a new agricultural corridor with Mexico. The Canadian government and private sector are investing in infrastructure, climate-controlled storage, upgraded ports, and efficient transport routes. Canada's stable legal and regulatory environment is a major draw for Mexican producers tired of US trade battles. Contracts are honored, and the rules don't change overnight. Canadian companies are fostering true partnerships, collaborating on crop planning, sharing consumer data, and even working on sustainable farming. This approach builds trust and transforms the relationship from transactional to strategic. Mexican growers feel respected and secure, not just like suppliers at the mercy of politics. As this partnership grows, more Mexican producers are expected to follow, fueling further investment and strengthening the Canada-Mexico food corridor. Canada is redefining what it means to be a North American agricultural hub. This tomato trade shift will reshape daily life for consumers and workers across North America. American shoppers face higher prices and less variety. The era of cheap, abundant winter tomatoes may be over. US jobs tied to Mexican tomato imports, trucking, warehousing, customs are at risk, while American farmers may see some benefits. In Canada and Mexico, the outlook is brighter. Mexican farmers gain stability, and Canadian logistics and food sectors see job growth. The shift represents a transfer of economic opportunity from the US-Mexico border to the Canada-Mexico corridor. This $2.8 billion shakeup is a lesson in global interconnectedness. Trade policy directly impacts our kitchens and wallets. The North American market is fragmenting. Canadians enjoy steady Mexican produce, while Americans face volatility. This could spur US innovation, like more greenhouse-grown tomatoes. For now, the tomato's journey is a clear sign of changing global trade tides. The future of North American food is being rewritten, one tomato at a time.